Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, it is right now, you're right here. My name is Manuel, and it's my pleasure to welcome you. Today is day 38 of the show, and I have to congratulate you for making the best decision of the day to spend some time with me. Let's get started. Let me say something today that apparently needs to be said. If you're the House Minority Leader of the United States, if you're one of the most powerful political figures in the country, if, and let's be honest, you are one election away from potentially becoming Speaker of the House, you might want to think for more than 3 seconds before declaring within 48 hours that the war with Iran will end in failure. But I guess not if you're Hakeen Jeffries, because that's exactly what he did. Within about 48 hours of the opening hostilities with Iran, within 48 hours of American service members being killed, he went out publicly and declared that this is just another Middle East war that will end in failure. Now, look, if you're anti war, that's fine. If you oppose the decision to strike Iran, that's fine. If you believe diplomacy should have been tried longer, that's fine. I'm okay with that. This is America. We debate these things. But there's a difference, a very big difference, between debating policy and declaring defeat before the fight has even really begun. Because think about what that message actually says. You, Hakeen Jeffries in this case, are a national political leader. Your words will be heard not just in Washington, not just by the media, but by every young American wearing a uniform who might soon be asked to risk their life. And what do they hear? They hear the leader of one of the two major parties in the United States saying essentially, yeah, whatever you do over there, that's probably not going to accomplish anything and just be a huge failure. Wow. Wow. What a morale booster, buddy. Imagine being a 22-year-old Marine or airman or sailor right now. You've just watched 6 American service members get killed in the first days of this conflict. And then you see one of the most powerful politicians in the country already telling the world that the entire effort is going to collapse into disaster. Now, I'm not going to accuse Hakeen Jeffries of treason. I'm not going to call him a traitor. I'll leave that to others. But I will use the word betrayal because that is exactly what it feels like. Not betrayal in a legal sense, but betrayal in a moral and civic one. When American men and women are stepping into a dangerous mission, political leaders have a responsibility to at least act like adults for a moment. You can oppose the war. You can criticize the strategy. You can demand congressional authorization. All are perfectly legitimate. But declaring the mission doomed 48 hours in, that's not leadership. That's political theater. And let's be honest about what's really going on here, because the pattern is obvious and unbroken. For nearly a decade now, the central operating philosophy of the Democratic Party has been very simple. Oppose everything Donald Trump does. Good, bad, neutral, doesn't matter to them. If Trump says the sky's blue, they'll hold a press conference demanding an investigation into atmospheric misinformation. So, when Trump launches strikes against Iran, the response isn't careful analysis. It's immediate panic, hysteria, and predictions of catastrophe. We've already seen Democrats who, after receiving classified briefings, walk out in front of cameras and start screeching about disaster before the operation has even unfolded. And you know what's really fascinating about all this? So far, none of their predictions correspond with actual reality. You might remember, for example, that when we grabbed Maduro, they told us it was the beginning of World War III, that it was going to be another forever war in Venezuela. How'd that work out? But we know that facts don't really matter to these people because this isn't about reality. It's about politics. Opposition first, facts later. Or maybe facts never. Now, here's what I consider the really ironic part. This behavior actually hurts them politically. And that brings me to today's lesson because, as always, it's my desire to be useful. If you are a political party trying to convince Americans that you are responsible enough to run the country, you might want to avoid looking like people who root for America to fail just so your opponent looks bad. That's not persuasive. That's not leadership. That's not strategy. That's just self sabotage. Here's a simple formula Democrats could try next time. Could. I doubt they will, but I'm going to mention it anyway. Step one, say you support the troops. Step two, say you hope the mission succeeds and Americans stay safe. Step three, then criticize the strategy all you want. See how easy that is? You get to keep your political argument without sounding like you're declaring defeat for your own country. It's amazing how much better you look when you at least pretend to be decent for 5 whole minutes. And honestly, that lesson applies beyond politics. In life, when people around you are taking risks, making sacrifices, trying to accomplish something difficult, the worst possible move is to stand there at the beginning and say, yeah, that's probably not going to work out for you, buddy. No, that's not wisdom. That's just being the guy nobody wants on their team. And right now, unfortunately, that's exactly how some of our political leaders are choosing to behave. All right, that's enough for today. We'll continue tomorrow. And as always, be useful.